On the Ruby on Rails podcast, Andy Croll had talked about a workshop that our team gave at Ruby Conf Mini this last year. And he mentioned how we believe at Learn that if you can put your interns or junior developers into pods of 2 or more, you give them the opportunity to lean on one another, creating this cohort feel that helps alleviate some of the pressure from your senior team to mentor them through all of their challenges. So I wanted to give a little context to that and explain why that is true. And we'll relate this back to maybe some group projects you might have done at various times in your life as a kid going through school. Now, why did we do group projects? And why did we do those group projects with our peers? Well, part of that is that mentorship looks a lot of different ways. And one of the ways it can look is through peer-to-peer camaraderie. So I have this model that I believe that mentorship can come in 3 different forms. The first is the one I just mentioned, this peer-to-peer camaraderie model. Now, these are people that are just like you or at similar sort of skill levels that are working similar problems at the same time. It's kind of like 2 runners who go out and run together that have similar paces. Now, there were studies done specifically on runners, and they found that on average, they would go 18% harder if they were running with a buddy. And some of this is a little competitiveness, but other sides of it is just general accountability, and it keeps our mind off of some of the struggle that we're going through and helps us stay focused on the task at hand, which is, moving forward in that case. Well, this can be true when we look at pairing together or camaraderie peer-to-peer work or group work. That just simply by having 2 people or more working on a similar problem together, they tend to, 1, hold each other more accountable to that problem. They tend to stay more focused on that problem. And of course, the collective ability to problem solve together is one that creates a better outcome, or at least gets you to the outcome and crosses the finish line. Now, I'll quickly go over that there's 2 other sides of mentorship. So again, the first was that camaraderie peer-to-peer model. The second one that I want to talk about is the consultant model. Now, this is where you find an individual who has been there, done that. Now, maybe they don't have a framework for how they help advise you over the issue or challenge. Maybe they're not necessarily a motivator of sorts, but again, they've been there, done that. They've gone down different similar paths in their history, and because they've done it a few different times, they can give you perspective, their perspective on how to approach the fork in the road of problem solving. The third of that model is the coach model. And these are individuals who are asking a lot of questions and are trying to help motivate you and tap into the potential that you may not see in yourself. And this type of mentorship generally comes from those with a different level of perspective, a different level of experience. Oftentimes, these are individuals that come with a lot of depth of knowledge. Sometimes they even come with training on how to be a coach. And they're not the person that's going to run the field with you. They're not the ones that's going to solve the problem with you like a comrade or peer-to-peer might. But instead, what they're going to do is they're going to understand where you're at, your mentality, your psychology, what drives you, what motivates you, and have some sort of methodology or understanding on how they're going to help you unlock that potential to be your best self and motivate you and mentor you to the ultimate goal that you're striving for. So that's the 3. But going back to that camaraderie peer-to-peer and why putting interns or junior level folks into pods of 2 or more works is because by having 2 individuals that they can, a pod of sorts that they can lean on one another to help solve problems, they end up taking time away to focus on that together than it is them leaning on to a senior member who might be more of either a coach or might be a little bit more of a consultant in their mentorship world to help solve the problem. So that's a few different perspectives on it, but that's where that comes from, is the group think model, the ability to work together, the peer-to-peer camaraderie model that helps people overcome the challenge by leaning on one another, even though they're at similar skill or abilities. There you go.